Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most powerful and honestly, one of the most dangerous human emotions, that burning desire for revenge. It's an urge that has literally toppled empires. It's inspired some of the greatest literature ever written. And let's just be real, it's an urge you've probably felt yourself. Maybe even this week. But what's actually going on inside your brain when you crave payback? And why does the one thing we think will heal us so often end up poisoning us instead? Let's get into it. So here's where we're headed today. First, we're going to tear down this idea that revenge actually feels good, that sweet illusion. Then we'll pop the hood and look at the neuroscience, what your brain is actually doing when it's screaming for payback. We'll even go way back in time to understand the evolutionary reason for this instinct, and then see how that ancient wiring can cause all sorts of problems in our modern world. And most importantly, we'll walk through 4 real, practical steps to find true justice instead. And finally, we'll talk about what victory, what really winning looks like. All right, let's be honest for a second. Have you ever, really fantasized about getting even? Maybe that coworker who took all the credit for your hard work, and you just spent the rest of the afternoon picturing the look on their face as you accidentally delete their big presentation. Or maybe it's an ex who broke your trust, and you just felt this overwhelming urge to make them feel just a tiny fraction of the pain you're in. Even something small like a driver cutting you off in traffic can spark that little fiery thought, oh, I'll show them. If any of that rings a bell, congratulations, it just means you're human. This stuff is baked right into our DNA.
But here's the thing, this is exactly where our intuition gets it completely wrong. We've been told a story our whole lives, in movies and books, that getting even brings this magical thing called closure. That it'll just neatly tie up all our pain in a little bow and let us move on. Well, that brings us to our first stop, the sweet illusion of revenge. We are about to unpack why this deeply held belief isn't just a little off. It's one of the most damaging myths we tell ourselves about our emotional lives.
You've probably heard the old saying, revenge is a dish best served cold. But psychologically, that's not really how it works. A much more accurate way to think about it is this. Revenge is usually served piping hot, right in the middle of all that fresh anger and pain. And just like a meal that's gone bad, it almost always gives you food poisoning. We imagine it's going to be this incredibly satisfying feast that will finally make us feel whole again. But the reality is, it's a poison that we willingly drink, and it only ends up damaging our own system from the inside out. So, when you really peel back all the layers, what is revenge? It's not actually about justice. Psychologically, it's a really misguided attempt at pain management. When someone wrongs us, it hurts. It's a deep emotional wound. And our brain's immediate, frantic goal is just to make that pain stop. And revenge offers this really seductive, simple promise. Hey, if you make them hurt, your hurt will go away. But it is a fundamentally flawed strategy. All that constant planning, the stewing in your own anger, the rumination, it all just acts like picking at a scab, keeping that original wound from ever healing. And this right here, this captures the central paradox of revenge perfectly. We think it's going to set us free, but instead it emotionally chains us to the very person who hurt us. It reinforces the exact anger we're trying so desperately to escape. It's kind of like locking yourself in a prison cell with your enemy and then just tossing the key. Every single moment you spend thinking about their downfall is a moment you've stolen from your own future. You're not moving on, you're just stuck. So, if revenge is so bad for us, why does the urge feel so incredibly powerful, so visceral? Well, to answer that, we need to look under the hood, at the hardware. Welcome to Your Brain on Payback. We're about to take a deep dive into the fascinating neuroscience of vengeance. Okay, the first and probably most critical thing to get your head around is this. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between a broken heart and a broken bone. I'm serious. Neuroimaging studies, where scientists can literally watch the brain work in real time, have shown us something absolutely remarkable. Experiences of social rejection, betrayal, or a huge injustice, they light up the exact same regions of the brain that process physical pain. You know that feeling of being stabbed in the back? Yeah, your brain takes that pretty literally. And the key player here is a part of the brain called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or DACC for short. Just think of this as your brain's alarm system for both kinds of hurt. So when a colleague betrays your trust, the DACC fires up just as intensely as it would if you slammed your hand in a car door. This is why social pain feels so all-consuming. Your brain interprets it as a real threat to your survival, and that urge to lash out at whatever caused the pain becomes this powerful defensive reflex. It's not just you being petty, it's your ancient wiring kicking into high gear to protect you. But wait, it gets even more complicated.
It's not just that your brain registers the hurt as actual pain. It also does something else. It dangles a solution, a reward. It makes you think that getting even is going to feel incredible. Your brain literally has a built-in reward circuit designed specifically to make you crave payback. It promises this amazing rush of pleasure, which makes the fantasy of revenge feel almost irresistible. And the star of this whole reward circuit is an area called the dorsal striatum. You can think of this as your brain's little revenge center. In studies, when people were wronged in a game and then given a chance to punish the other player, their dorsal striatum would light up like a Christmas tree the moment they started thinking about getting even. This brain activity is tied to a release of dopamine, the chemical of pleasure and motivation. That dopamine hit is exactly why revenge fantasies can feel so good, so addictive. Your brain is literally rewarding you just for planning to get back at someone.
But here it is. This is the cruel neurological trap. That dopamine rush, that feeling of satisfaction, it comes from the anticipation of revenge, not from actually doing it. The high is in the planning, not the performance. Study after study shows that people who actually follow through on their vengeful fantasies report feeling empty, or a lot of times even worse afterwards. The satisfaction they dreamed of just evaporates. And why? Because the act of revenge forces you to relive the original wound. And now, on top of that pain, you've got a sense of moral injury, a kind of quiet shame for having stooped to their level. Your brain promised you a feast, but all you got was an empty plate. So, this begs a huge question, right? If revenge is so psychologically self-destructive, why would this incredibly complex system evolve in our brains in the first place? To figure that out, let's jump to our next section, an evolutionary story, to understand the surprising and once vital social function that payback served for our ancestors.
The leading theory is that revenge evolved as something called altruistic punishment. Think about it. In early human tribes, cooperation was everything. A single cheater, a thief, a freeloader, they could threaten the survival of the entire group. So the threat of revenge acted as a powerful deterrent. If you knew that stealing my food meant I would come after you, even if it put me at great personal risk, you were a lot less likely to steal it in the first place. It's called altruistic because the person taking revenge takes on a cost. They risk getting hurt, but their action reinforces a social rule that helps everybody. We are literally hardwired to police fairness, even when it hurts us personally to do so.
Okay, so let's bring this out of the evolutionary past and drop it right into today. How does this ancient tribal wiring for policing fairness play out in our modern world of offices and social media and highways? Our next section is revenge in the real world. Let's break this chart down because it really shows how our ancient wiring just short circuits in modern life. So take workplace sabotage. A colleague steals your idea. That powerful urge you feel to expose them or undermine their next project, it feels like justice, but it's actually your old altruistic punishment instinct misfiring. In a small tribe, that enforced fairness. In a modern office, it just makes you look unprofessional and can totally torpedo your own reputation. Or what about the revenge body after a bad breakup? The driver there is status recovery, this primal need to show the tribe and your ex that you are still valuable. But the long-term cost, your healing journey is still all about them. And road rage? Well, that's the most primitive of all, pure reactive aggression. Someone cuts you off and your amygdala, your brain's threat detector, hijacks your rational mind. It thinks you're under physical attack, and it leads to these dangerous escalations over something totally meaningless. In every single one of these cases, our ancient circuits are reacting to a world they were just not built for. So it might seem like we're doomed, right? Just stuck with this ancient wiring in a modern world. But we're not, because we also have a more recently evolved part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, which is the home of logic and reason. It's the part that can step in and say, whoa, wait a minute. So if revenge isn't the answer, what is? That brings us to the most practical part of our chat today. 4 steps to justice, a guide to breaking the cycle and finding some real peace. First things first, we have to draw a really hard line between 2 concepts we always seem to confuse, revenge and justice. They are basically opposites. Revenge is hot, it's emotional, it's intensely personal. Its only goal is to make someone else suffer. Justice, on the other hand, is cool, it's rational, and it's impersonal. Its goal isn't suffering, it's accountability. It's about making sure the wrong thing doesn't happen again, to protect the future. Revenge chains you to the past. Justice is the only thing that actually allows you and everyone else to move forward. Okay, so here it is, the 4-step path to finding some peace. Step 1, acknowledge the pain. You can't heal a wound you pretend isn't there. You have to validate your own feelings. So write it down. Name the specific emotions. I felt powerless. I felt humiliated. I felt invisible. Just the act of naming them starts to shift the activity in your brain from your reactive parts to your logical parts. Step 2 is the empty chair technique. Now, this might sound a little strange, but trust me, it is incredibly powerful. You put an empty chair in front of you, you imagine the person who hurt you is sitting in it, and then you let him have it. Say everything you never got a chance to say. Scream, cry, vent, get it all out. This is so critical because it lets your brain safely complete the stress cycle without any real-world consequences. Step 3, reframe what winning actually means. You have to consciously shift your goal. Winning is not making them miserable. True winning is making yourself happy and whole again. Which leads right to step 4, shift your energy. That rage you feel, that is a powerful source of energy. Right now, it's all pointed at the past. Your job is to grab that energy and point it toward your future. Every minute you spend thinking about them is a minute you aren't investing in your own growth. So turn that fuel towards a personal goal and thrive.
And that last step brings us perfectly to our final section, and maybe the most important takeaway from our entire discussion today. This is the true victory: thriving. It's about completely redefining what it means to come out on top after you've been wronged. We've all heard the old cliche, the best revenge is living well. But it's actually more specific and way more profound than that. The true victory is building a life that is so full, so meaningful, and so joyful that you achieve a state of genuine indifference. The goal isn't to show them how great you're doing. The goal is to get to a place where you honestly, truly no longer care what they think or if they're even thinking about you at all. That is the ultimate freedom. That is the real win. This quote, which has been said by a lot of different people over the years, just perfectly captures the self-destructive logic of revenge. Holding on to that anger, that bitterness, that need for payback, it doesn't harm the other person. They're probably out there just living their life completely oblivious. The poison only works on the one who drinks it. It poisons you. And that's why letting go isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about letting yourself off the hook. It's about choosing to save your own life. You know, true strength isn't about your capacity to inflict pain back. It's about your capacity to feel pain, process it, and then refuse to let it define your future. It's about showing the world, and more importantly, showing yourself that you could not be broken. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What is the time you chose the high road instead of revenge? And how did that actually feel in the long run? Thanks for joining this deep dive.